Hello everybody, hello. So other than the introductory video, this is our first actual video about something. So welcome to the Soundtrax YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by. I hope that you enjoy the show that we're about to present to you. We want to talk a little bit about Brothers Revolt. Yeah, absolutely we do. So there's a personal connection going on there for me. I met the lead guitarist. His name is Matt. I met him at the Record Store Day that we had in April of 2024. And he had come into the store and he bought a few records, and he had his daughter with him. And I think I gave him a slip mat that day. And and then he leaves, and one of the guys that worked with me at the time, he's like, "Man, that's a professor at the college." So I thought that was really cool. I didn't know it at the time until after he left. And then he started coming in, regularly with his daughter on Fridays. He'd have lunch and come to the record store, and I just thought that was awesome. Like that's one of the reasons we want to have a record store, so that those kind of moments can actually happen. So anyway, I got to know him a little bit, and then he's looking for a drummer, right? And he's like, "Man, you don't need drummers." And my son had played drums, and he played with some touring bands, and got some offers, some contract offers and stuff in the day, and just not the path that he chose. But I thought, well, let me ask my son and see what he says, right? So I asked John, and John's like, there's just no way. There's just no way I can do that right now. So I didn't want to tell Matt that, because I thought, there goes any chance of being buddies with this guy. It's out the window, right? But no, he took it like a champ. And actually, if I remember right, when I told him, they had actually found who ended up being their drummer, Ozzy, and I've gotten to know Ozzy since then as well. And what a cool dude! Like they're all cool dudes. So that worked out kind of good. Well, then we moved to Morristown, and I find out that I'm like right around the block from where he lives, and he still accuses me of doing that on purpose. And we'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. That's okay. And so anyway, it comes in one day. He's like, "Hey man, we're gonna do a show down at the 1907 room in Morristown. We're gonna record it. We're gonna put it on an album." I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. So I go to this show. I didn't really know anybody at the time other than Matt, and I didn't really know him that well. Like, we hadn't had any real conversations or anything, other than just the passing, through the store kind of stuff. So, my wife and I went, and we checked out the show, and we had a good time. It was a good time. So then he comes in the following week, and he's like, "So what'd you think? What'd you think?" And I said, "No, I enjoyed it. And he's like, "No, what'd you think?" Like, he's really pressing me for, something a little more in depth. Like, "Yeah, man, that was cool." So I'm like, I said, "Well, I don't want to offend you." He's like, You won't. What was your opinion?" So I was honest with him. I'm like, "Man," I says, it was if Van Morrison had come out during the grunge era. So it was kind of like Van Morrison doing grunge. And then I kind of held my breath. And he's like, "Yes, I love that." So I didn't offend him. He actually loved it. And look, that was a compliment. Like, I meant it as a compliment. Like, the 90s grunge thing, that's their era. That's their music. That's what they cut their teeth on. And then the Van Morrison thing, I think Van Morrison has a very unique, distinguished voice. So maybe not exactly but along the lines of the tones and the inflections and that kind of thing, I thought it was a good match. And there's some well-written songs on this album. Like there really are. Like, I didn't know it that night, because it's the first time I heard most of them. I caught bits and pieces here and there, as you will any live show. You're paying attention to your surroundings. You're having a drink. You're talking to your wife that you're there with, or your friend, and the band's playing, and you're not totally engaged. You're not checked out, but you're not totally engaged. So you don't really sit and take in all the lyrics. So anyway, he comes in a little later, and he's like, "We're gonna do an album, man. We're gonna put that on vinyl." And I thought, dude, that's just super cool. So as we get to talking, I'm like, "Would you like a sponsor?" And he just kind of looked at me, and if I remember this right, and man, if I'm wrong, forgive me, but I don't think he actually said anything. I think then I volunteered, like, "You know what I mean by that?" And then he said something. He's like, "Yeah, I know what a sponsor is. I'm not a dummy, right?" And so later I find out that he calls Andy, the lead singer. He's like, "Hey, dude, I think this guy at the record store wants to sponsor this. What if I told you I got a sponsor?" So they were excited about that. So why did that happen? Like, okay, I'd only heard him once, right? I only knew one of the guys in the band on a first name basis, right? So why did I do that? Well, one of the reasons, and this is where it ties into the personal, one of the reasons that I wanted to open a record store is to support independent artists, like give them a channel. maybe I can't give you national distribution. Maybe I can. We're talking about that with some people. But maybe I can at least give you local distribution. Maybe you can bring your CDs into my store and we can consign them. Or maybe I can buy a couple and give them away for special events. And maybe I can promote you on our website, promote the events you're doing. I run like 6 internet radio stations and work for another one. Maybe I can get your music on the internet radio. No, it's not like, 100,000 people listening on an FM band, but it's what we can do on a grassroots level. And that's how it used to be done, okay? That's how it used to be done. Like, I grew up in Detroit. I remember Bob Seger, he'd play Detroit. He'd sell 5 nights out in a row at the mid-sized venues, and then he'd go to Minneapolis and he'd play at a bar in front of 10 people, okay? It's how it works, how it used to work, okay? So maybe I can be a part of that. Maybe if I'm going to do things the old school way and try to sell records, maybe we can be a part of this and help some bands out the old school way as well. We can still do the modern stuff, marry the two, right? So anyway, that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to be a part of something local. I wanted to be a part of something that was part of my community. I wanted to be a part of what my clientele is doing, what my people that come in and hang out at the store and keep the doors open. I wanted to be a part of that. So we jump in, okay? We jump in. And as the process goes along, I get updates. Hey, this is done. Hey, that's done. I remember the day he came in and he showed me the artwork, okay? And had my logo on the back. So like right there, see that? That's just super cool. I got my logo. I'm not the label. Maybe one day, but we got the logo on the back of it. And I thought that's just super, super cool. And it just felt cool to be a part of that. Okay, now let me bring the kid out in me, the child, okay? I never learned how to play anything, okay? When people ask me, what do you play? I play records. Okay, so I DJ'd a lot of years, but I never learned how to play anything other than drums a little bit, and I never was good at it. So this gives me a chance to kind of live vicariously through the rock stars, right? Okay, so that's the kid in me coming out. So, there's multi-levels of wanting to do this, right? One, I want to be recognized as a store that supports indie artists. 2, I like these guys. I want to support them. 3, there's a little bit of rock star attitude in there as well, right? Anyway, it worked out good. I thought it was a good thing. I was proud to be a part of it, and I was proud to be a part of this record. So I'm not going to play the whole record for you. I don't think that's fair to them. I do want to play a couple of pieces in the video just to kind of give you a feel for it. I want to encourage you to buy the record, all right? Support these guys. Look, man, you can go to some big coffee shop and spend $12 on a cup of coffee and keep the rich man rich. Or, you can buy a $12 CD from somebody. Or you can go to Bandcamp and download it. Like Bandcamp has a Friday each month where they don't take any revenue. They don't take any cut of it. And I think that's happening the day this video is coming out. Actually, today, this Friday. Then it happens again in October. So you can go download just a song, 99 cents a song, and, support the local artist if you want. And maybe it's not this local artist. Maybe there's a favorite band you have in your town, wherever you're finding this video at, or one that you heard of. And, it's like, hey, that's good stuff, and spend $1, spend $5, right? Okay? Help these guys out. Remember, every band was an indie band at some point, right? Or, here's a shameless plug. You can come into Soundtrax record store in Morristown, Tennessee, and you can buy the actual record. We have these in stock, ready to sell you, happily ready to sell you. And we have one in stock, open, that if you want to hear it while you shop, just make the request, baby. We'll put it on for you. We'll put it on the turntable, and while you're digging through the crates, we'll have that thing rocking in the background. So anyway, support these guys, right? Support these guys. Support all indie artists. Find yourself a couple. And make them your band, okay? I remember growing up, I had my band. Of course, radio used to play this stuff back then. They do a Sunday night show, and it was all indie stuff. And I had my bands, my 3 or 4. One of them ended up being Toby Red, which the drummer, Chad Smith for Toby Red, yeah, you might have heard of him. A little band called Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, that was him. And I have some 45s and records around here from Toby Red from independent releases back in the day. And they're probably worth a couple bucks. And that's really cool to me to have seen that happen. And then there's some other guys, too, that they didn't maybe become part of the Red Hot Chili Peppers or something similar, but they went on to entire careers and lifetimes full of doing music. So you just never know. You never know what your dollar will go to. You never know what your $5 will go to. You just don't know. And if nothing else, you get some good music. And look, everybody does this. You like, and the music is weird. We're going to do a show on this. We're going to talk about this. You like to have music that's your own, like this is mine, but then you like it so much you want to share it with the world, and then the world gets to know it and they like it, and it's not cool no more, right? That is a phenomenon in the world of recorded music that happens. Creed, Nickelback, Taylor Swift, Elvis. I mean, it happens. I remember when Elvis wasn't cool. The Bee Gees. I remember when they weren't cool. You know, so it happens. It's such a weird phenomenon. So for the 5 minutes that you get, maybe you can make this band yours. And if they never make it big, they'll always be yours in some small way. And if they do make it big, you know, you can walk around with your chest out and be like, I knew them win. I knew them win. And that's Brothers Revolt. That's your favorite indie band. That's the band from your town, the band from your school, the band from your college, the band, the nephew in your family. That's the point that I'm trying to make there. Just support the indie artist is the word that I'm trying to put out. All right, before we get really long on these videos, because I promise you guys, we're not doing super long videos, let's talk about this album a little bit, all right? We're going to give you the titles. So they start out with Cold Winter. Then they go to 80s Kid. I can relate. I'm a little bit older than them guys, but I can relate. Give Me a Reason. Probably, favorite track? Maybe. The Princess, Suburban Town, Small Town Favor, I've Had Enough, Who's Gonna Pay My Wage? That was a little angry there. And then 40 Hells. So that's the tracks on the album. We're going to play you just a little snippet of the first song on the first side, because that's how this thing kicks off, right? This would be, if you bought this to having no idea what you were buying, you just saw the album cover and like, well, that's kind of cool. And then you saw that it was local, the 1907 room in Morristown, Tennessee. And then you saw that a cool record store was, a sponsor on it. You buy it and you put it on, and this would be your introduction to Brothers Revolt. You ready?
All right, count to 6.
You notice he says count of 6, and Ozzy brings it out 6 times.
What's that she said?
Got the hook.
I can't hear words coming over the phone. What's that you wrote? I can't read all those words I surely said. Now they're dancing in my head. It's gonna be a cold winter round there.
And by this point in the night, the people that know, singing along. Pretty cool. All right, let's skip to another one. All right, the second song I'd like to talk a little bit about. How do I say this? This is a Midwestern song written by some guys in the South. What do I mean by that? So I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Detroit. And a lot of guys that sing about the hard times, okay? Because I was an 80s kid. And now you go back and look at the automotive industry in the 80s and the interest rates in the 80s. And there were some hard times. There was a time when, as Detroit went, so did the nation. Meaning that the car companies were laying off, the nation was in a recession. If the car companies were selling cars, the nation was experiencing an uptick in the economy. That's how it used to be when Detroit was the motor capital of the world. And so, and then the cities that went with that, like Billy Joel did Allentown, and Springsteen made My Hometown, and Seeger would write about this kind of stuff, and Mellencamp would write about this kind of stuff, and Pittsburgh, the steel town, because that's where the stuff would come from to make these cars. So when times are hard in the car industry, sometimes times are hard, if not all over, at least in the Midwest and the Northeast, right? And these songs would come along, like My Hometown, they're closing down the Tex mill, that kind of thing, and some of Mellencamp's stuff, singing about kids can't find a job, and that that kind of thing, and Billy Joel singing, as I said, singing about Allentown. So there were those types of songs in the 80s and early 90s that were a reflection of society at the time. So when I heard this song, Give Me a Reason, and I thought, where were you when you wrote that? Like you could have been walking the picket line for the union in Detroit when you wrote this song. Like you could have been doing that. So anyway, probably my favorite song on the album, and probably for those reasons, because it just feels like a Midwestern song, but is written by Southern guys. Now, I cannot say to you that they did not experience that here. I did not live here at those times. And again, I don't know where this song originated from. So I'm not taking away in any way, shape, or form from where this song came from the songwriter, okay? I'm just telling you that when I hear it, where it takes me. And that's the beauty of music. So we're going to listen to this one a little bit. And you guys just listen to the words and just kind of take them in and put yourself in the songwriter's shoes for just a moment. Give me a reason.
Give me a reason, get out of bed. Give me a reason, lift my head. Times are tough, so they say. I just won't get out of my way.
So this could be like blues all the way, right? Absolutely.
Give me a reason I don't have long. Stack of bills I can't pay. Working myself to an early grave.
All right, as I said, we're not playing whole tracks. You want them, you gotta go buy them, you gotta find them, you gotta come to Soundtrax and get yourself a copy of the record. But I mean, that could have been written in the '80s. That could have been written by a Midwestern guy. So Brothers Revolt, we got to get you guys a little tour up in the Midwest. I think that those people up there would totally relate to a lot of the things that you're writing. So let's talk about the band a little bit. So we got Andy Leiter on vocals and acoustic guitar, Matt Wilkerson. It's the Matt that came into the store that I got to know and how all this kind of started. He's on electric guitar lead. He does some lead vocals on a couple of the songs they do and some background vocals. This doesn't say that on the album cover, but I've seen the live show. You got Shane Parkey on the bass guitar. He does some background vocals as well. And then you got Ozzy, the Oz, on drums. And, you know, he's just a cool cat. I always like it when he comes around as well. He comes around one day and we're having a dollar sale and he buys Kenny Rogers. And this is a punk rock guy. Like, it's just like, it's like, dude, I love you. It's awesome. So it was produced by Brothers Revolt and Jim White. Great engineering by Jim White. Just good stuff. And then the mastering of Brian Murphy of Sound Porter. Good job, dude. Good job. Like, I've heard a lot of independent live albums in my life. And, usually you kind of cringe a little bit, and this one, no. This one's wide, and it's there, and it still feels live, but yet it's a good quality. And look, sorry to tell you this, but a lot of live albums aren't live. They record it live, and then they go back and they overdub a lot of it, and they mix in a lot of studio stuff, so it's not really live. That did not happen on this. What you see and what you hear is what was really happening, so that's kind of cool. So anyway, the wife did the front cover, and then we got Tiffany did the back cover, and then Shane laid it out and put it all together and put my logo on there and made me look really cool as well. So can we give you another flavor, another taste of another song? We're going to flip it over to side 2, and to me it's kind of the same vein of Give Me a Reason. A little bit different, but the same vein, the same maybe subject matter, if you will. And another reason we got to get these guys up to the Midwest to do some shows, because it's got a real it just does. It's not a bad thing. It's got that vibe. Here we go. Check out the lyrics.
Land's been in the family nearly 60 years. Taxes getting higher, pay for development around here. Took a job
So, small town favor. Talking about, losing the farm, having to go get a job, reminds me of in the vein or along the lines of something that a Steve Earle or Chris Knight would write. It does have a Midwestern feel, but this one's got more of a Southern theme going on through it, because if you live in this part of the world, that's happening a lot right now. Like where I came from, that happened decades ago. And now it's happening here, and it's really interesting to watch it. It's as an outsider, like I've been here for a long time, over a decade, so I consider this my home, absolutely. But I remember where I came from, and watching what's going on here as compared to there is just really interesting. So back to the subject matter at hand, guys. This is Brothers Revolt. They're Tennessee guys, a couple of them from Middle Tennessee, a couple of them from East Tennessee. This isn't meant to be a review. This is just meant to be a recollection. And kind of a story of how this all came together, and then tying it into the fact that we want to, as a record store, support you. You want to come play our store? We'll figure it out. You want to get 3 or 4 bands together and get a venue and have a blowout? Reach out. We'll figure it out. You're looking for some radio play on some online internet radio? Reach out. We'll figure it out. We want to support the independent artists. We don't want to just sell top 40 records. We don't sell any of that anyway. That's another video for another day. But we don't sell a lot of that stuff anyway. So anyway, that's part of the passion, and that's part of the goal of having the record store. One of the radio stations that I do some shows for, I helped them back in the day kind of get started on it. And the idea there is just worldwide indie artists. And that's still to this day their core. And so it's not something that I'm just latching onto to try to grow the record store. When you get to know me and you start watching some of these videos and some of the things we talk about, you see that I've been doing this for a long time. And I've never made anyone famous, and I've never broke anybody to the big time. So I'm not going to be able to do that for you, but I'm going to support you, and I'm going to be your fan. I'm going to give you a pat on the back. I'm going to play a record. I might do a YouTube video. We're going to get it on the internet radio. We're going to share your posts. We're just going to kind of try to be on your team, right? That's kind of the idea. So when they did the record release, they went back to where the scene of the crime was, at the 1907 room, and they presented a nice plaque, wall hanging with the record to the venue, and then they presented one to us as well. And if you come into our store, you'll see it. It's hanging right underneath the TV. It's the biggest thing on the wall. You cannot miss it, and we display that very proudly. So that's kind of cool. So I was at the show. I was at the release show. I did some video there. It's probably not going to blend as well as in my mind I thought it was going to when I was recording it. But it was a few weeks ago, and I'm really late and really slow in getting this channel started. But we're gonna give you a little bit of that and just kind of let you see what that's like live, a little taste of that as well. So we're gonna cut to that here. Thanks for watching. Again, give us the likes, give us the follows, ring the bells, do the things, tell your friends. Let's build this thing up. Now, challenge. Let's do a challenge. Tell me about your first live show. Let's do that. So since we're talking about live shows, and we're going to do some some clips from their live show, their record release, tell us about a live show that you went to. Maybe your favorite, maybe one of your coolest memories. Send us a video on that. If we get 6 people to send us a 5-minute video, we got a 30-minute video, because we can splice that thing together and put some comments of our own in there. So send that to me. Our email is soundtraxtn@gmail.com. That's our email. And then we've got Facebook, Instagram. Reach out to get a hold of us. Figure out how to get that sent over to us. But do that for me, would you? We said in the introductory video that we want to make this a community channel, and we want your input. So I may get 0 responses because this is a brand new channel, and I don't even know if anybody's going to watch. But we're going to put that out there right now. Your first show, your favorite show, a show that just has a really cool memory, just something to do with a live show that you were at in person. Send us a video, tell us about it, and we'll make a video out of that. All right. Thanks for watching. We're going to try to be very consistent in doing these videos, and hang tight for some clips from the record release from Brothers Revolt. And guys in Brothers Revolt, thanks for making me feel like part of the team. That's really cool. You didn't have to do that. It could have been a business transaction and ended right there. But you guys have taken it a little bit more personal, and that's not. I don't miss that. So thank you for that. All right, guys, we're in the 1907 room for the Brothers Revolt record release party. Let's go take a listen. That's the rock and roll show!